So let's see, how many pole weapons do we have? Can we get all the pole weapons over here? All the shield and sword and shield over there. Just get a visual.
I'm a spear.
See who's what.
Get over here, Reese. Go over there, pointy. Wow.
All right, so this is a pretty good distribution. So for the spearmen, the shield and sword are going to be your frontline defense against the enemy's spears and pole weapons. So we'll start off with, let's see, is this like 4 people wide? No.
Like 3.5.
3.5?
Yeah, I'd go with 3.
Okay. What I want to do is get 4 people up on the front, and we'll start off with, we'll get spaced sword and shield. 1, 1, 1, 1. And then we'll have 2 lines of pole weapons behind them. Okay.
How many poles?
So let's get
4?
Let's get 2 or 3. Let's see how this works. So we need to form a rather orderly line with some space in between. 3 looks like that'll work pretty well.
So we have 2 spaces there, and there.
Yeah. Okay. We'll want the pole weapons dueling through here, and you'll be facing opposition, which your spearmen are going to be protecting you from. I mean, your shieldmen are going to be protecting you from the pole weapons coming this way. Okay? So you'll be shooting, spearmen will be shooting out. Yeah. Did you hear what T-Bone was saying? If you're a shieldman.
Okay, shields. Okay. I'm just in front of the line. If you got the comparable mixed weapons in front of you, I'm going to be sitting up here and I'm going to be looking to smack gophers. Okay. All right, I want you to look up, and especially the guy on the end. If you're sticking your elbow out or you brought your arm up like this, I'm just going to go down the line, smacking those arms as they pop up. That's why I had them not do this. You can guard your head like this and cover. Okay, kind of refuse the head, have your sword angled, keep your arm behind your shield, and you can even duck down and do it like this, but whatever you do not stick that forearm out over your head.
So, and setups, there's a lot of setups, right? For
Yeah. Oh yeah.
these type of things. What's the number one thing you need to know about in any melee scenario?
Say that again?
Number one thing you need to know in any melee scenario, what is it? Yes, victory conditions. Because it doesn't matter if you're not doing the thing that gets you the win. The second part of that is the different setups you can have. If your goal is to hold the center of a bridge, right? It's a time thing and you need the center of the bridge at the end and you need to keep them away from it. Sometimes turtling up can be useful, but that only works if T-Bone and Armand are the only people facing your unit and every long weapon you have is 2nd, 3rd rank. What can they do against these guys out in front? Nothing, right? Because they can't reach them. They can't fire through you, they get all types of range. So what do you have to do in response to that? Or
Push forward.
or pulse charge into them.
Yeah.
Or it depends. Like if they have a unit of shields behind them, right? And they're way out in front by themselves, that's a great place for a pulse charge. You can pulse charge into them, you hit them and you come back. Does everybody know what a pulse charge
What
is?
is a pulse charge? What's a pulse charge?
Yeah, it is not a charge is charge. Just go, you don't come back,
feel at
right?
the part.
A pulse charge, you're taking 2, 3 steps of whatever it is to the enemy. You're swinging a couple of times, and you're coming back to your line. You're not trying to necessarily take all the ground. You're trying to disrupt them, kill them, do something. But you're keeping things together.
And they go, you're not trying to kill people this way, 2nd rank. You're going to turn and just...
Well, and that's the thing too. You have to be careful of too, because that's also situational. If you get into a situation where you're bending people over while they're getting crushed, that's not helpful.
That's not good.
So you kind of have to learn how to apply that.
How many ranks will advance on the pulse charge?
Two?
Usually that's the
It
first.
depends on what you want to do.
Depends on
You
what
can
you
also
wanna
set
do.
up in like a 2-person wide, 6-person deep column just to do a thing.
Right.
You could do the whole front goes. You could do half the front goes, half the front goes. The other half steamrolls what's
Okay.
left off the side.
Well,
There's a
and-
lot of options.
And right now,
means
what
you
we've
have-
got is 3 ranks. So people are going to get picked off. And then, you know, if you do a charge, somebody may die. Okay. And then that person needs to walk back through res. Well, if you're spaced well, if you're not pressing up against each other, if you're maintaining about this spacing right now. Okay, let's say Abelard gets killed. What? Yeah, sorry. Abelard, you're out. Abelard walks back. He's got room to go through the line.
rather go back that way.
The next rank can move forward. The next shield, come on up. Okay? And let's say Gilchrist gets popped by Armand.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
this part.
Yeah. All right, so Gilchrist needs to go back and res. Randy can come up and move forward. And the idea is that you have enough room that when somebody in front of you is missing, you go take their place. And it keeps going like that. This only works if you have enough space for people to walk back and res. And once you're out, next person comes up and assumes the place in line. And ideally you want the shields up front and the spearmen, you know, raining death from just behind their protection.
For some, yeah.
Okay.
And then if you do, depending on your unit, like, so the Outlands unit does a lot with like what a lot of us used to do
Yeah.
too. So
Pardon me?
come up front.
Generally, what I see happen.
So if you're out in front and you're fighting the spearmen out in front, right?
Yeah.
So they're not behind the line. This is just more
They're
aggressive.
alternating.
But you have to be more careful how you use it, right? Like if he's basically should be fighting in a box, imagine it's about 3-4 feet on the side, right? So he can take a step forward, he can take a step back. All you have to make sure is that if someone presses him and he goes to take a step back, that you aren't becoming a wall blocking. Either you let him through or something. Either you charge past him and help or you let him back through. But if you're a wall that they're bouncing off of, that's not useful. Come on up.
Step up, buddy, up behind.
Well, and
Give them room to maneuver, but you baby bird.
yes and no on that one too. That's going to be specific by the spirit. Like for me, I don't want anyone near me. Like, don't touch me, don't get near me, don't put a shield around me, because all you're
don't block
really
my
doing is you're
shoulders.
blocking my vision, you're blocking my ability to move.
Yeah.
But that's me.
But
Not
See
everybody
something
fights
coming at me,
But let-
be there for your guy.
yeah.
Yes,
But
they
so-
do very much, but they're trained into that. Like for myself and some of ours, we very much get out in front and we just play out in front on our own. But there's multiple styles is the main thing we're trying to get at. It's just there's going to be differences on what you use.
Be helpful, but not
It also depends, again, what are your victory conditions. If you have a resurrection bridge battle, you can be far, far, far more aggressive with your shieldmen than you can be in a single death. In a single death, you're going to have your spears whittle down everything they can, as much as they can, and hopefully kill a ton of the enemy spears, and then start killing shieldmen before they realize it, so they don't charge you. Now let's say you're our last spearman. You die, right? We have 5 or 6 spearmen out here playing. You've got this contingent left. What do you think you're supposed to do with it?
You move,
We've got 9-foot spears, you've got 6-foot poles. What do?
move forward.
Right, you get back into range where you do the thing. You can't just stand there because you're going to die.
Yeah.
All of you are going to die.
So this
Like 3
sets
or 4
up.
spearmen can kill your whole unit in a minute.
Yeah. But this sets up the time for the pulse charge, because then you go.
Yes.
Then you got to go take out the pole arm. So you have your front, and you, talking to each other is key. Okay. It's okay to say things like, "All right, let me forward, going up front, protect my left," and then when it comes time to have a pulse, key on the person who's saying, "Okay, pulse charge on 2, 1, 2," or just pulse charge. And a pulse charge can be what, 3 steps forward?
Usually 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's not a go, crazy.
It's not just
So,
a-
a comment on this, and this kind of gets back to kind of what you said on shouting.
Yeah.
Okay. Outlands, it was the baby bird, maneuver that I was showing there. The one problem I've had, especially when the shield slinger was going to get about ready to go, I've literally had to sit there and do this to give me room.
Yep, I've done the same. I'm sure
Yeah.
most people have
Great.
popped near me at any point have been
If
elbowed
you
by me.
guys know you're about ready to go, you don't walk up behind the spearman. You cast up your reins.
Yeah.
And when you yell go, what I'm doing as a spear pole arm out here in front, is doing this.
Yep. Let you through and then follow.
Right.
Now, same exact thing, but you're on the other side. So if Tom's out here with his spear, and you see me doing this shit, for God's sakes, pulse charge him with at least a couple people, because he's gonna fall into the shield, and I'll be like, oh, I didn't know you were there.
Can't
By
go
the time I
anywhere.
figure this out, he's a dead person. Yeah, hey, he's a dead person. So keep that in mind too.
People
And
who aren't
anybody
tall
that are
are
working
dead
the
people.
line can be like, hey, you three, when he backs into the shield, quick pulse charge and come back. So it works both ways. Keep an eye on it. The other thing I want to do really quick was rock, paper, scissors. Anybody not know rock, paper, scissors? Perfect. Works out here as well. Rock, paper, scissors. And spot blizzard. We don't do that anymore.
Sorry, I do.
Rock, paper, scissors is, it's the game of,
The actual
rock,
game.
paper,
Okay.
scissors.
I thought it was
One beats one, one beats the other.
Okay.
What we do out here is just this. We have a shield wall on my side. Shield wall on my side. I'm like, spears up. I'm gonna let them have lunch because now they got reach and everything on you. Your side is we got spears up. You pulse charge to get rid of them. Once they're gone, and now we're back up to all the shields came up. It's kind of silly to sit here and do this. Now comes the pole arms and the spears. They're gonna start eating until they're dead. And then it's like, okay, they're dead, and then the other guys come up. So you just constantly rock, paper, scissors. That's why you have your openings.
When the pole arms come out, they clean up. You'll see spears start to come up because they'll bring up the longer weapon to deal with poles. Poles need to switch out the spears, or they need to roll back. The shields need to charge.
And you'll hear good commanders talking in the back. Hey, spears up front. All right, kind of keep that open.
Keep an eye.
All right, spears back, shields. Make room for spears so that they can get in and out.
Well, you'll get things too, and we're not there yet. This is all very rudimentary. These are a bunch of different options you can have. We don't have it set as an army, like this is what we do as an army all the time, kind of thing, but we will probably eventually as we keep at it. One thing that really good Army Swiss Spear units will do is if a unit is used to working together, especially if it's a household or a region that fights a lot together, they'll even set up where like one edge will be where they feed people in from, and they'll cycle across the front edge with it and out, so that their people never really get too burned out. So you've got people that are generally pretty good and working together the whole time. They'll also have it where they'll set up little charge columns with shields in the centers or on the edges, and a lot of times they'll end up doing 4 shieldmen and 2 polearms in the 2-man column. So that'll charge through, and the couple polearms will flare out at the end and kill whatever they can kill. There's just lots of little things you can do. There's a lot of flexibility if you're trying to lead a unit or work something up with a unit. You can do a lot of things here. So things you don't want to do is be so dogmatic that if you start out like say in this situation, right?
Yeah.
This is where you get like Calentary gets in trouble sometimes. They do the thing that Thora was mentioning, which is a valid tactic, but they never change it. They'll get there and they'll have all of the wrong weapons stuck behind that front rank of shields, and it doesn't matter how close we get with great weapons or get with spears, they won't come out behind it. And it's like, form up a little close so you don't have a gap, and then you guys try to reach over the top of it, right?
Yeah.
So you can only get about so far, right? Whereas, well, it's a 7.5 footer, you know? And that's just a cut. Thrusts have range on cuts, right? Always. Except when you have something like this, there's a human in it. But all I have to do is out here, like if we're working out here, right? We can try to keep you guys busy, but I don't have to do a lot with you. I can just do this. And that doesn't seem like much, right? Until he stabs you in the chest.
And it keeps your line static. So here's the way to combat that. If you find yourself locked in with shields and your objective is to gain the center of the bridge as a shield wall, here's the thing to practice. Say step, and you take a step forward.
Oh, sorry.
And all of a sudden you own more territory than you just had, and you're pressing the spearman. Step, and you step forward, and all of a sudden you own more territory. And the side that can do that decisively will start gaining ground. It's very hard to fight that back.
Yep, and you will have to be sure you're very defensive because you're basically just going to be in blows range.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't stop the enemy from trying to kill you, and you aren't actively killing them. But if you're trying to take ground to get to an objective, that's a great way to take up that ground.
Yeah.
If you need to get, when you get to a kill pocket, which is very similar to what they're going to show you on busting buildings, the kind of a similar concept, just a little bit different depending on how the enemy sets up the kill pocket. You got to know how to break those without just running in them like a bunch of typewriters. Okay, I'm old. You guys have played with old-fashioned typewriters where the keys, you hit a button and an actual arm comes out and hits the paper? You ever hit a bunch of those buttons at once? and they all jam up on the point of impact. Right. That's what happens in a kill pocket usually when people just charging them willy-nilly. They all get ganged up, and then everything around that kill pocket just starts killing your unit. So there's a multitude of ways. I have a way I like. There's ways people like. They all can work a little differently. You just don't go work the freaking middle. Like if you bust a corner, you send a couple guys to take all those hits first. Like they'll run in, they'll do some stuff, and then you go left or you go right and bust the corner that's on the edge of the building. Squish that back, scoot as many people into that hole as possible, so then you're flanking the top. That'll usually break it pretty quick. That's just one of several ways to break it. But you can do that by getting your shields up close enough that you get to the edge of that cup. But you don't want to march into a cup. It just gets you killed.
That's what it's called. Kill pocket.
Yes.
Right. They want to maintain the pocket.
What it looks like real quick.
What? Oh,
But
sure.
if you can find a.
I mean, yep. Which of you guys are newish? Newish.
Okay.
All right. So you guys get in here, so you can see what it looks like from your side. A lot of the veterans are going to know what this is already, honestly. But it's recognizing what it looks like is kind of a thing, right? So, and if we had
Watch
just a
the
few
camera.
people, we could do it just as this, right? This is the type of equipment. Right? Now, is this set up great? No, this is assuming the fight's going for a while. We've got a few great weapons left. Maybe we're down on shields. But you're there, we can't stop that, right? We don't have shields to stop it necessarily, but we're setting it up where everybody can shoot at an angle and hit something.
So, Beatrice charges.
Yeah, like you come forward,
I
right?
charge.
You get stabbed a bunch. And then that dead body becomes a problem too, because they're dead right there. Or worse, they get up and go the other direction, which messes everything up, right? So you have to kind of play that aspect of it too. And there's not an easy answer to these ever. You have to know the multiple different ways to do it so you can adapt when something goes wrong, right? And again, know your objectives. I know we'll harp on that a ton because tons and tons and tons of veterans don't even pay attention to getting there.
Okay, briefly on the pole arms button line. Okay, guys, get back on. Form up. If you are mixed shields and spears, Randy, come up front here. Shane, you're going to be a spear. You got a long time. Okay, and I'm a pole armsman sitting back here. Okay, Randy, you're a spear. You're up. You're up.
Spears up.
Spears up. Okay.
Look, we're giving the pole arm and the spearman room to work.
Okay, but I'm the pole arm back here. We've got 9 foot of reach out there. My job is to help keep the other spears off of these guys, okay? Not to be trying this, okay? Because all I do is get these guys killed.
They
That
also.
said,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
okay, if you're at spear range, there's almost nothing you're going to do going over with pole.
Yep. You do have one extra advantage with a pole in that space is they can, that gap you guys have there, they can police it. So, because they don't have an active fighting role at that moment, so if the second, third rank is starting to encroach on that, they can work on keeping that a little clear so that the people have room to fight, retreat, or move through so you can set up charges or retreats.
Now, in terms of policing and keeping it clear, let's say Armand is the head of a column, okay, and he comes charging in right here. Boom, 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 boom. Keep coming. Let him go through. Let him go through. That's what the pole arms are for.
Oh, it's a bad day.
Okay?
You're all hitting on me. You must like me.
If you're the lead shield, you never turn to follow that guy around. Because you're going to get skewered.
Yeah, you get driven. You can let them through potentially, like you're saying. That's actually really effective because it breaks up their unit. You just got to make sure you don't break your whole line to do it. Right? You're letting a person scoot through to kill them. You're not letting their whole unit chase through it. You're still stopping stuff. You're just not trying to blunt the absolute.
He's coming in, and we know that we got a strong pullman. So ready, get in guard. Come on, Armand. All right, there you go, Armand. And then we close up ranks.
And even if they keep pushing, you let another one through.
Yep. And you just keep trapping them.
And you can literally go bang, 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 and they never make more than 2 steps in.
Yeah,
they're more worried about staying alive than really throwing things. Or if they are throwing things, it's wild and rarely accurate.
But all of this only works if you keep your spacing. Like, just everybody bunch up for a second and see how uncomfortable that is. Because this is what's going to happen to you at Penzic if you're not careful, right? Like, there's even too much room in that. I mean,
Right.
you just-
No, this is perfect.
You get
Check this out.
really
if I can
tight.
get here, oh, I'm having a good day. My whole job is going to be basically just to hunker down and try to take as many blows as I can. Someone's going to come behind me like, oh, there's a shot there, there's a shot there, there's a shot
Yeah, it's
there.
going to be Face Star City for
And
the
he can't
Spears
go
outside.
anywhere. He's stuck. And you know what? I'm going to leave him there. I don't want him going anywhere. He's keeping people from hitting me.
Charges rarely
Right.
hit your head on.
But you
That's
can see
right,
how
good.
hard it would be to throw a shot. Like, you guys can barely throw a shot there because your elbows come back for other things. Pole arms are stuck with this thing, or they can get really high up. They maybe can go over, but there's very little control. It's everything about this is a mess. So having some type of proper spacing and having an awareness of what your job is when the enemy charges, or if the enemy doesn't charge, what your job is going forward. You got to know what you need to do and what the proper placing is.
Up front here, you're out. You up front, shield. Randall's out.
So is it weird we can write, we can pick a word or a command, like space?
Right, or just, it's not so much you guys. The guys in the front should know where you're at because you're kind of busy. It's the second two rows that should be help and go, hey, come on, back up, give them room to work. I know you hear that constantly about the Spears, give them room to work. Now here's the other side. Everybody on here is gonna get yelled at somebody. I'm telling you, I don't care who you are, someone's gonna yell at you when you die, all right? Two things, right? That's why I got the new guys up here. When you're dead, if you can, again, it's your safety. What I don't want to see is, yeah, I'm dead. Hang on, I'm dead. And just walk through, it's like, oh, he's gonna be dead all right. Wait till later. All right,
You also
somehow
don't
you've had the
walk
suspicion
across the
Yeah.
fighting zone.
So if you're on the side and you die, and you can do it safely, roll off the hay bale this way, right? Just
fall
get
under
out of
it
the
and
way,
Fall all the way out.
right? The other thing is, put your sword over your head because blows are going to keep raining on you as you're leaving because you're like, oh, there's one. He didn't hear you that you died, but this is at least letting him know that, all right? The other one is pick a spot, hopefully a little off to the side. If you see a pulse charge coming this way, just kind of sneak out this way, like dead, you know, and just kind of get out through the line and keep telling him, I'm dead. Let him know I'm dead. People will go with you.
Pretty much never go through the enemy line.
Yeah, don't
Right?
ever go through the enemy line.
That's
Oh, yeah,
the
they
number.
really
You want to
don't
go
like
off
that.
the edges if you can. If you can't, drop down.
George, but someone's going to be upset when
At
you go
some
back
point
through
they'll
because
call
someone's
all
going to have that
the
perfect
Spears
shot lined up and you walk
You
into
don't want to
it.
go
And
through
now
it.
you're going to be the guy stuck in the center and can't make it outside. What do you do, George?
Right? Oh!
Watch your
Oh,
don't.
God. Please don't make me
Then be
go
prepared for a
like
guy that weighs 600 pounds.
Yeah,
That's how it always
this is going to be
goes.
fun.
You got to get brave.
That's why you have to.
Okay. Whatever you do, don't fall face down, don't fall straight back.
Right.
Okay, I literally had to do a bridge over somebody who went flat on his back thinking that was a smart way to climb on the bridge. Okay. If in doubt and you can't make it out safely and you can't push out, die defensively. I would actually recommend not this. This is the speed bump position. The other way is you turn with your feet down one side, pointed down.
So you're minimal.
Oh, I thought that's what you
Hey,
wanted.
Sheen, show what a pole arm looks like when they're dead. You're young, I'm not thinking.
I'm scared.
I'll turn.
You don't want, well, I'd be careful about doing that with your head. But you don't want to cross your feet on top of each other because that just makes it you break a leg, break an ankle. So you got to have them where they can be flat because people are going to step on them.
Yep.
And they're going to fall on you.
Yep.
And it's not pleasant. There's nothing fun about it. Even if you get everything perfect, like, yeah, if his setup is perfect, everything is great, still people crushing on top of you is no fun. And it's not going to be one or two, it's going to be 4, 5, or 6 men. So if you're a bit claustrophobic, be a little careful of that. If it gets too much, just yell hold. That's why we have an ability to yell hold.
Correct.
Not everybody can sit at the bottom of a bunch of big fat smelly.
Well,
Which
I
will
think,
usually be
degrees outside.
Stephen, you want to tell them about the time I nearly had my shoulder torn off? Because some of us can get in trouble just standing upright too.
Yeah.
In a bad crowd.
Situational awareness. She got caught on the front of a snowplow, basically, and they hooked under her shield. And the guy
So it was a
pushed.
strap shield. The shield was on one leg. I couldn't move because everybody was so crowded around me, and it was tearing. It was literally starting to tear my shoulder off.
Yeah, he got up under her shield, did that push, because everyone teaches this. He actually hooked up under her shield, went to move around behind her with her arm chicken winged in it. And then there was a loud explosive sound, because once we all realized who was screaming, everyone on our guard, we all turned 90 degrees and blew out half the bridge. We just pushed everyone off. One of them grabbed her, and the rest of us just blew everyone out.
Yeah.
A lot of information. I don't want to keep harping on this. I want questions. Anybody got any questions or comments on this side?
I was gonna make a comment. Like when someone's doing a pulse charge, you got the front guys. I mean, they see this pulse charge come in. A lot of them, they just let them go through. I mean, really, at least take a swipe at them as they're coming through, and then let the guys behind you take care of it. You got
depends
one
on what you're
chance.
facing.
Don't turn and try to hit them, unless
Wait,
you
wait.
know there's nobody behind
Don't
you.
turn, but a parting shot, if you
Yeah.
can pull one off, But at the same time, as you're doing a parting shot, someone might have a spear at you going, oh, I got a spot. So be aware.
You
But
have
no,
support.
there's nothing wrong with a parting shot.
You have people supporting behind, so you don't really have to have the front rank break their integrity. I mean, you have full arms, you have spears behind there. It should be able to be taken care of with samurai. But yeah, if you have an absolute opportunity and it works, and you're not going to hit your guy next to you, or you're not going to turn your head, yeah, sure.
Just a question on the best way for shields to give a gap if someone's moving forward. Does it turn outward or inward?
Basically, you want to spin with you always present to the enemy. So I mean, if you can turn a little bit, you don't want to open up because the spear over there is gonna be like, hey, free shot.
Yeah, because if you're moving through,
Right. Keep your shield to you. Move to the side.
Move to the side.
And let him
But I
come
don't
through.
want to like go like this.
No, that'd be terrible.
Just make it like that.
What's going to end up happening is go in your guard real quick when you're there, and you can be there for space, but just close on him. I'm out in front of you, right?
Yep.
I need to come back. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to wait until I feel something to go through. If I feel the shield, like this time, don't open. Just let me bump into you, right? So I'm going to get to here. I'm like, okay, I can feel that gap there, right? So I know there's a gap. So I'm just going to do this and try to sneak through.
Cool.
As long as you aren't pushing me back into them, that'll work.
All right.
If you decide that you're going to try to hold that line really hard and push me, I'm going to throw you at them.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So
Here, you go. Have fun.
yep, but that's generally speaking, and some of these shields are not the best. Like that's not a great shield for a bridge. It just isn't. These are okay, but center grips can be tricky sometimes because they're hard to hold. They're easy to pin open.
I loved mine on.
Side mount heaters are generally the better ones, but you've got a turny one. He's got the classic. I mean, very classic.
Yeah,
I don't know. I had a lot of fun with mine on the bridge.
It can be, but it's. But, okay, so
But I
here's the
mean, it
thing.
wasn't a center
Just-
grip
just
kite. It
line
was a
up.
strap kite.
Right? Alright, so, and then can you get in next to me? Alright, everybody else that's not them, come around here and take a
So you
look
can
at the
see,
gap.
yeah. I want you to see this. Good point.
Because this is the reason why you don't do it. Where did you put mine in the I didn't see it. I know, that's the point. Alright, so you can see how these are different, right? So this one very clearly has a problem with that guard, right?
Yep.
He can guard his face a little bit, but he can't guard a lot of the other stuff. The problem you run with these is that although they're kind of covered, I can see there's a gap there. So when I fire into this shield, he may not even see me. This is the shield I'm abusing it, but I'm hitting him. Because his shield is making that happen, not his shield, right?
For the guys with the center bosses, what can we do against that? I mean, other than having really stupid strong
Be
forearms.
aware of it, try to do your best.
Yeah.
There's no mechanical advantage you can do. You could try to go like an overlap, but then you're locked together, and that's a problem.
You
too.
can. One of the things that I'm just thinking of, feel free to correct me, but you put your sword arm behind to like.
Yeah, you can push that corner.
Yeah, that's right there.
But that's that side that
That
can
helps
use
with
the
that
still.
side. It doesn't help with this
Yeah,
side.
the next thing is you pull it in.
But then at
Your
least
hand
only
tighten
flips
up
one
here.
Right.
No,
It's your
that
body.
hand.
Your body.
Your body.
That way you can at least be aware which way it flips.
Then it's only got so much that it can move.
And then with the turning style shields, you always run the problem that you can guard a certain amount of things. You can't guard your leg and your head both.
You got your shield up.
Yeah.
I was noticing that his shoulder and everything was closed without him overlapping like that.
Like I get to see. Really well at
That just stops the shield from moving. Go ahead and do that, but it's not going to stop it.
Then you get on the aggressive when you get on the front line.
Yeah, but it's still the center grips have a problem with it
Mostly
because of
definitely
this.
here, so.
I said that mine did fine on the on F-Men's.
Yeah, see now that'll help with something, right? But then the problem is to worry about it over here too.
So if there's that space,
I like to like.
Well, there's a lot of things there.
Yeah. I'm going to like when they're.
If you can, yes. You could also be trying to support yourself. You gotta
look
You know,
that
right.
way.
You have so much going on.
So
Yeah,
right
there's a
now
lot.
I've got to
And
think
you
about
gotta be
it.
aware.
Do I want to throw that
The really problematic ones are the weird ones. These are fine in turning.
or
They're
do
just
I-
hard
or
to
do I
do in
wanna-
a static front.
Another thing I
I
would
almost
think of, I
wonder
know there's
Back up a little.
what do we do if they've got
With
like
an oval
archers on the
shield.
flanks? Just pray.
Yes.
Hope you don't
Okay.
die.
Well,
Actually,
I hope you're short.
Actually, as a short person, I will typically go on the left side because, look, oh, I'm totally covered, and I'm covering Armand up to his shoulder. You know, just by doing this.
Okay.
And if I'm staying even behind the front rank, this is not a great looking front rank because the pole arm's going to kill me. But if you have a shield, get to the side that you're protecting, and while you're waiting in line to get in, protect against the arrows.
And again, some of these things are situational. That will work in sometimes, and sometimes it won't. It's just, you have to, like in all things, you have to know an awareness, right? We have to know we can do these things. That is perfectly valid. And sometimes you're going to go, oh, yep, this is the right time to do that. Other times, you're not going to have the force distribution you need, the timing is going to be wrong, the position you're at is wrong, or the objectives are different. So you have to be flexible in your mindset. You can't dogmatically go, this is the one way to run a bridge battle. One true weapon, absolutely, but you can't really run bridge battles one way.
But the basics are give each other space, give each other space,
Yep.
and talk to each other.
Yep, yeah, you're a team. As much as any one person, like, the kills a spearman get are because you're there backing him up. You know, just because we're out killing a bunch of people in front, even if we're several feet in front of you, is only possible because they don't want to charge in and die on the shield wall. They know that will happen. So it's not because they're afraid of 4 guys with non-poking things. That's not how that works. So
We're the meat and potatoes.
yes, well, it's a unit. It's easy to fall into the category of, wow, these guys killed everybody, but it's really a team kill kind of thing, which is why, to be frank and blunt, Knights don't give a crap how good your melee skills are when it comes to becoming a Knight, because it's not that hard. You can kill a ton of people because it's a team sport, not an individual sport. We are tourney combat based. Melee is a team sport.
Well,
And if we're all working together, it's a shit ton of fun, and we all get to talk about the "those shit there I was" stories later. And maybe you did a really cool thing, and that's awesome, and we'll talk about that. But it's a team sport.
oh, I was just going to say, in other sports, they recognize assists. So, you know, spearmen may be getting killed, but, you know, the person next to him, it's like, haha, made it possible. Yes.
Oh, I totally
So we
count
can
assists.
recognize that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right.
Totally.
Make sense?
Okay.
You guys want to do some of this?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's divide up some teams and see what we can do.
Okay.
We have at
Can we
least
go
one
back?
spear.
We've already marked blue and red, right? So I think we've got a pretty even distribution of.
We can
Sword and
put
shield?
helmets on them, we can double check, and then if
Okay.
we need to switch some people up, we can do
Yeah,
that.
we can do that.
You don't have an officer off.
You want to waste energy on this, or it's an important play?
We can go to the court and practice the same skills on the front.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
And there really is no limit to how you can do things. People have opinions on what the best way to do a thing is, but that's different.
One
Y'all
comment
good
I
with
would
that?
make is
That we will go.